Welcome to IT Help Me. This is a video tutorial, and today I will be covering on how to modify and add content to Joomla's content management system from the front end. So what is Joomla? And this video I made for a specific purpose. I have a client which I have designed a website for, and the person that has organized this project for me, or that brought on this project for me, has wanted to modify the contents on his own instead of relying on me. So what I want him to do is to log in here from the front end, so he'll be able to edit the contents that you see right now and also add content for himself. So this way he would be more self-sufficient. And today I will be showing you how to do just that. So this is the front end website. As you can see, it's Mbiri. And here we have a login form. I already went ahead and created a user for this person. So in order to modify content, you'll need to log in. So let's kind of jump right in and see what this is all about. Again, Joomla is a kind of, if you don't know Joomla already, Joomla is the CMS, or a content management system. It allows people to build websites a lot more efficiently than rather using raw HTML codes and other programming languages. So Joomla is a building block that you kind of put together. Still need a lot of skill sets to do so, but it's a lot better than doing things from scratch. So that is what Joomla is about, and this website is built upon that platform. So we're going to go ahead, and many websites are actually using Joomla and other content management systems, but one of the most popular ones are WordPress, Joomla, Drupal. Those are the three really popular ones. We're using Joomla. So let's go ahead and kind of dive right in and log in here. This is the front end. So this is what the public sees. Pay attention to the navigation on top. This is the menu bar. When you log in, you'll soon see that there will be another button called Post. Well, some buttons are visible only to the public, and some buttons or menu items are available to users who log in and have their appropriate permissions. So I'm going to log in as a test user that I created for the individual that will be modifying this in the future. So now I've logged in. And as you can see, as I mentioned earlier, the menu on the top, you notice there's a new button called Post. That's only visible to the person who just logged in. It's hidden if you log out. So this menu, when you click on Post, it is just that. It allows you to post new content. But before we do that, let's kind of look at what's available to us right now. So this front page here, we see edit button. Before, if you log out, this edit button is not available. So you can actually click on edit and edit the content that you see here. So it's made very easy to the front end users who may not have any coding skills. Okay. Now we need to talk about two things to kind of make a distinction between those two. One is articles, and the other items are modules. What you see here in these columns are modules. And what you see, like for instance, if I go to news, what you see here under the contents of these news or under projects, let's look at a project here to kind of better illustrate this, since that other one was kind of short. So here under projects education, this is called an article. An article, what is an article and what is a module? So this is an article, and you go back home, these things in blocks, these are called modules. Now what's the difference between them? That is a good question. It is kind of hard to make a distinction between them. So I'm going to create an analogy between those two terms. Modules are kind of like a building blocks. Articles are just contents. So let's have an analogy between these two. Think of one of those executive wooden desks. What makes up a wooden desk? Well, you have the building blocks of it, right? You have your legs, you have your drawers. Imagine these modules here are building blocks. They're drawers. You can add more drawers, of course, right? But adding more drawers, what would that entail? That would mean that you may have some woodworking skills. Maybe you need to tack on or cut up or whatever to add more slots to it so you can expand to that wooden desk. So with that, having said that, modules, just keep in mind for now, we'll probably talk more about it later. It's a little bit more complex to add certain building blocks to it. An article now, on the other hand, are like pieces of paper you throw onto the executive desk. Let's say you got a lot of paper from your briefcase, you took it out and you spread them on the desk. Those are articles, those are content. You can put articles inside modules, and you could put articles or these contents pretty much anywhere else in there, but those are articles and contents. What we see here, these are all contents, or let's keep the term that Joomla uses, articles. And we're seeing this as front end now, and we just kind of logged into the front end, and we're a little bit exposed to the content of it, where we are able to modify and add new stuff. We'll look into the back end shortly so we can make a distinction between the front end and back end. So kind of bear with me, these may not be simple ideas, and it kind of takes a little bit of time for your mind to maybe wrap around. So let's say we wanted to modify an existing article. Let's take one. Let's keep on working on pick this education one. Let's say here. So now we logged in, right? Let's say we wanted to modify this article. We click edit. And what's cool about Joomla is it'll bring up a kind of a Word type of a template. You can click this button here to toggle full screen mode, so you have more real estate to modify the content. And there you go. You see all these words and pictures. You can go ahead and modify the words, or looks like there's a parenthesis that was left out here. So I'll add that on, right? You can do whatever you need. You can say delete this word, for instance, add it back. You can insert pictures. Let's say if I wanted to put a picture right after Nigeria, press enter, right? And then click on this one to insert. And then you choose your picture. You can create a new folder here, or if you have an image on your laptop or your physical desktop, you would say upload. You can go to the folder first if you want to, and then you want to upload in this location, choose upload, and then you'll be able to browse to your hard drive and upload the pictures. And that is how you modify the content. I am not gonna go ahead, I'm gonna undo the changes here. I'm just gonna get it out of full screen mode and then click cancel. If I were to go ahead and make the changes, I of course would hit save if I want to commit those changes. I'll hit cancel because I don't want, this is just to show you. And now we're back to the original content. So likewise, you can modify other contents as you deem necessary. You have all these things here. Okay, that's to modify existing content. Now, how do you add new content? To add new content, we mentioned about the menu item called post. We click post. Now let's say I have a new news. We're gonna put it under news here. Let's say I have some good news. Let's say gold was discovered. Let's make something up. Or discovered, not disappeared. Gold was discovered in my city, right? And we make up whatever. Type in your stuff. You can add pictures. You can insert page breaks, or you can insert read more or page breaks. So you may want to look into what those mean. That's kind of beyond the scope of this video tutorial. This video tutorial, again, keep in mind we're only editing content and adding to it. So once we're done with that, the most important thing is go to publishing. We want to ignore everything else. Those are not really relevant. You don't need to know about them. If you want to insert images and links, ignore that. You can just say, I want to hyperlink this one and choose link. And you can, what kind of link is this? You can go to a different URL, like say Facebook, make sure you get the right URL. Or if this is an internal link, what type of content are you talking about? Is it a menu, a link to a menu, or is it linked to additional other content? So you choose. After you're done with your body of your new web page here, after you're done, the most other important thing is where you want to publish it at. Like we mentioned earlier, we want to publish it under the news menu. So category, we want to choose under news. These are the various categories that were created by the backend, by the administrator. So I choose news. Let me bring up a new tab real quick before we actually publish it so we can look at the existing news. Oh, you saw that earlier though, actually. So there was only, it's very limited. We click on news right now, we saw a picture of these three gentlemen and a statement underneath the picture. So now we're about to submit a new post under this category or under this menu called Gold was discovered. We choose news and then we say this is a publish. You can actually say you maybe want to save this as a draft and not make it visible, make it publicly visible to the world. And you can say this is unpublished, and that'll give you a chance to work on it as a draft. And when you're ready, you can come back in here and change the status to publish, where the whole world will see it. Or you can actually delete it too if you want to, or hit cancel. If this was an existing article, you can go back here, modify it, the content, and then say trash to throw it away. But this is a new article we're publishing. So we want to publish it for the whole world to see, and we click on save. And that's it. So we should be able to go to news now, and what we see? We do see the new one here. We didn't give it a title, so but that is there, you see. And this was our previous one. So any new content you add will be at the top, and that is how a blogging, they call it blogging, is the jargon. That's how blogging is supposed to look and feel. Any new content you add gets pushed to the top, and the older content are sorted at the bottom. So let's summarize on what we've kind of learned so far. We know how to edit existing content. We know how to add a new content. Let's delete this one now. Edit this. We don't like that. Delete that. And then go publishing. And hit delete. Trash. Choose a status of trash. And go to news, hit the refresh. Once this is done saving, hit refresh and it should be gone. Or if we go there again, article save and it's gone, as you see. Okay, let's post another one under, let's say, let's go to Washington DC chapters. We want to make a new article here. So example number 2, right? So hit post. I should show you in a separate tab to make it more clear. Let's go to Washington DC. It's the first one here. Chapters, Washington DC. So this is the existing content, existing article. Let's add something new to it. So I'll go back to my tab where there'll be a clear distinction between this is the viewing and this is the modifying. But you can modify in the same tab if you want to. You don't have to separate out the tabs like me. I'm just kind of making this more clear for you. Suppose some new stuff in Washington, D.C. chapters. Let's put some stuff. I'll insert pictures, just kind of show you. What's this one? I'll insert this picture. Okay, and it's kind of big. You can make it full screen. You see it's going to be a really huge picture, so you're going to drag down these anchor points to make the picture smaller. I'll make it real small just so that you could see it much more better. Okay, get out of full screen. I like the way it looks. Almost forgot. Make sure you go publishing. Let's put this under the Washington D.C. menu or category and hit save. After this is done, you'll see it stops spinning. Let's go to this tab, hit refresh, and there you go. That is the new content. Okay. I want to go back and delete that. I don't want to post, sorry, that was my mistake. I want to go into the actual article because I forgot I'm in the front end and I could delete it right from the front end. And for some reason the title isn't showing up, but I think that's just an option that I need to toggle on the back end to say that I want to also show the title. And speaking of which, we'll go to the back end shortly. Why don't I just leave it here? So this way I can actually show you what I'm talking about. So we're not going to delete this. We're going to leave it to see why the title's not showing up when I added or when I posted a new content. So just leave this here. Let's cancel our modification here. I was about to delete it, but let's cancel that. And we're going to leave it like that. Refresh. Make sure it's still there. And why isn't the title showing up? Let's talk about the backend. Let's go to the backend. So, as we mentioned earlier, we are in the front end. I'm going to go here to make sure, kind of make it more clear for you. Go back home. I'm still logged in as a user, Sunny, here. And we have all these capabilities to edit. And we'll talk about the modules later on. But we talked about mostly on content and articles so far. So I'll leave him logged in. To go to the backend, you actually have to go to a different URL address. Right here, it is the Mbiri main page. In order to go to the backend, you have to say Mbiri/administrator. That brings you to the Joomla backend. So we're going to log in back to the backend. So we are now in the backend. And as you can see, it is totally different from the backend or the front end. We have content I was speaking of before. We had our categories, which we've established. The administrator have created some various categories that kind of associates to the menu, as you can see here. So it makes modifying and adding content, new content, easier because the front end user can create these new content and upload them to the appropriate category, which will be sorted out and be associated to the menus. When the public clicks on the menu, it will show the appropriate content according to the category. Without these, putting new content is not really possible because it'll be under uncategorized. That's why we have that one there. But that's kind of going beyond the scope of this video tutorial. So let's go kind of come back to that. And we're talking about the backend, and I showed you the contents now. And we wanted to figure out before we kind of move on why this is not showing up. So let's kind of do a little bit troubleshooting. That is probably under Washington DC, right? Options. Okay, I believe I'm in the wrong location here. We want to check why the title isn't showing. So this is the category. We should actually be in the menu option. So let's go back to the menus rather than category, main menu. Go to Washington. And here are that we're showing that this menu item, the type is category and it's blog. So we're listing all the category in the blog format, and that category is Washington DC, and our options here to say show title, you see we can either turn it on as a global option or a specific menu item option. We'll change it to show and hit save. And there we go. So now if we go back to the new article we just added under the Washington DC chapters, let's hit refresh and we should show that new title. And there it is. That was a new title. Some new stuff in Washington DC chapters. Okay, well that was just a test to add new content. Let's go ahead and delete this one here now. Go in the front end. We are still logged into the front end, as you can see by the word Hi Sunny. And go to that chapters, Washington DC, and choose to edit and go to the publishing option. Once we get there, we can either trash it or unpublish it. Let's say you don't want it to be viewed by the public. You just need to adjust some few things or need to work on it for several days. You don't want it to be exposed to the public. You can have it unpublished and work it on this article at your leisure until you're ready to publish it. In this case, I'm just going to trash it and hit save. Now we're back to the original content under this category, which is just the picture of this lady and the positions here in this chart. So go back. This should be gone if we hit refresh. Okay, that is it. So let's kind of briefly summarize what we learned so far. Was to edit existing content, add new content, delete the content. We actually troubleshoot why titles wasn't showing up. So we could have gone back to our original news here, and when we added the gold was discovered in the city, we could have seen that title now if we ticked on that option to show title. So you kind of learn things that was unexpected on my part. I did not know that we had those options off, so that was kind of unexpected, but I kind of showed you the back end, the power of the back end, and the many knobs and features on the back end. There's different. Now let's talk about the back end and the front end since we're here. So the front end, as you could see, is made easy for end users who do not have the other skills to manage a Joomla system, and exposes only what they need to do, what they need to see. Now, in the beginning of this tutorial, I told you that we were going to talk about modules and how I compared this to the analogy of the desk. Well, you can modify the content of this one too, but it's not as easy as you could see. If I hover over this, pay attention to the upper right hand corner. You see that thing that just popped up? Now that allows you to edit this thing, but you edit it directly. This is one of the building blocks of the website. It is not an article. These type of things are called modules. Let's click on it. And as you can see, oh, looks like we got an error. The user checking in does not match the user who is checking out. Not sure why that's the case. I think it has. We probably need to clear that status. Let's try another one. But it should be similar once I clear out that error. Okay, so that one worked. So something wrong with this community module one. Probably it has a lock on it, as I was using it to test another user, not Sunny who logged in. I had another test account that I logged in with. So that user probably did not release that hold. I'll look into that on the back end. But as you can see, we clicked on this module and look at the way that it allows us to edit. It isn't the same as an article. We edited kind of pretty much directly. And as you can see, we have these other options that was not the same as the article. So here, this is what directly you see here is what this is, right? And I didn't mention it before, but when you modify these articles or modules, you are shown three tabs. The editor, which is what you see is what you get type of editor, and also code. You can click on code, and this is the actual code that is called HTML. This code is translated by the browser and presented to you in a nice human-friendly way. So you can modify this directly here, and you can preview what it looks like, right? So pretty much basics, but you modify the articles intact, kind of inline the way that you see it now, pretty much. Let's say we remove communication, let's say let's say just do that. I know it's a misspelling, but we hit save and close. And there it is. We see our misspelling right now here. And it says module saved. So let's go ahead back in and change that. Notice that we did not check any publishing options. There isn't any publishing option besides publish. We don't get to choose a category. As you see here, there's no category, right? We can unpublish it and hide this module, but we cannot choose the category that goes with, because this is the building blocks of a website. You cannot easily modify it like a content. Let's put this one back. Another thing I wanted to talk about is that it's easy to add, as you've seen earlier, it's easy to add content by choosing post and putting in new articles under any of these menus. But how do you add another building block here, right? Let's say I wanted to make another square here. Well, you can't from the front end because this is the back end type of a thing. So let's go to the back end, and I will add another sample block here to the right of it. And this requires backend modification. So that's the thing I'm talking about this time, is to highlight the differences between articles, modules, front end, and back end. Let's go to the back end and close. This is what we were on before to modify that title problem. Let's go to extensions. Now the back end, you can do various things. You can install new items, I would say call plugins or application. Let's say you wanted a shopping cart. It's a popular one. Complex, but it's pretty popular. People create stores on their website. You can choose install, and there are free versions and there are paid version. Each are so different from one another. They're individual developers. Joomla does not make them. They're programmed by other external third party. Some are free, some are paid, some are good, some are bad. That's up to you to evaluate. But this is the back end where we have the ability to install other software. Now, let's look at modules, what we were talking about earlier. I don't want to kind of stray away from our topics here, but let's go to modules. And here, we can add a new one. Let's say test. And here you can choose different type of module. I'll choose custom, because custom, what that does, allows you to do a custom HTML or put in basic stuff, but you can add other components in the module. An article can go in the module, or other software can go in the module, like a shopping cart, like what do you have in your checkout shopping cart, that can go into a module. So these are the building blocks and positions that you want to put into your website. So test new module. Let's say test. Let's say this is the body, and here I want to position it to the right. So I type in right. Now every Joomla template will have different positions and different styles. So for this specific template, their position is called right. It's not the same for every template. So here, this is what kind of makes Joomla good and bad too, because so many templates out there, and you're gonna have to learn about the templates for each one that you choose. There's a learning curve for each template. So I've been working with this template for a while now, so I know the position is called right. And every template may have various positions. There's different numbers of positions. So if you go back to the front end, you'll see it'll put somewhere here, and then you can change the ordering on the right side. This is the right side, the left side. Sometimes they have insets. So it depends on various factors, such as the template you choose, who is it made from. So some template companies are very good at documenting their template styles and how to use them. And the one that I'm working with does a pretty good job of that. So I know that if I publish it to the right side, it will publish it. So let's say save and close. And hit refresh. There should be a new form here. It's still refreshing. There it is. Test new module. You see that? Oh, I spelled module wrong. But there it is. These are the building blocks of a web page, modules and articles. I hope I've explained, kind of differentiate between front end, back end. There's such more to knowing about Joomla, but it's gonna take months if to learn pretty much all the complexity of all this. So this tutorial is basically a quick rundown on how to modify and add content to it. This is not meant to be a complete tutorial on how to do web page design. So you'll need to work with your administrator, and if you wanted to expand your website, but this should give you a good head start on doing the basics and managing your own website. I hope that kind of clears things up. Thank you for watching this video tutorial. Until next time, bye bye.